Hi guys and welcome to another video of mine where I will be commenting, scoring and giving my opinion on the dances of Strictly Come Dancing 2019 Week 2. So without further ado, let's move on to the first couple, Saffron and AJ and their cha-cha-cha. What I loved about this routine was Saffron's musicality and energy. It made her cha very rhythmical, which is very important in this dance. Lovely arms, beautiful dress, great smile. She needed to straighten her legs much more because it is very essential in this dance. Straightening of the legs and settling into the hip of the straight leg. It started very good, but as the dance progressed, there were more and more mistakes sadly regarding her footwork. This could have been a very fantastic dance if she had worked even harder on her leg action. It wasn't flawless. There were quite a lot of mistakes, but it was a very good effort, and for me it's a 5. Let's move on to second couple, Annika and Kevin and their walls. What an improvement on last week. Lovely dress, beautiful arms. She put her heart and her soul in this dance, and it was very touching. I loved her frame. I loved her musicality. She needs to work on her top line, on creating that beautiful curve. She needs to learn to push into the floor and glide. Because in ballroom you want to see long, smooth steps. She did have heel leads, which was excellent, but she needs to learn to push through the floor with those heels when moving backward, when moving forwards, and push with the balls of her feet when moving backwards. It didn't have sway, there was gapping as well. If she learns how to use her feet properly and how to caress and move into the floor with her heels and with her toes, it will make her ballroom much better. For now, it's a 4. Let's move on to the third couple, Devin Dayando Jive. It was a little bit disappointing in my opinion because last week in the Foxtrot, which is the hardest ballroom dance to do, his footwork was flawless. But in this Jive, he had several issues. It wasn't that great. What was really good about his routine was his musicality and his ooziness. He made the jive look very easy, and that was great. Unfortunately, technically, it wasn't sharp enough, and it was flat-footed. His toes should be almost 90 degrees when doing the kicks, 90 degrees to the floor. His toes should be almost 90 degrees to the floor when doing the kicks. His chassés were flat-footed as well. He has to channel the same energy that he radiates in his face. He has to channel it into his footwork, and in order for him to be a wow the contender, he has to bring the same level of technique into his Latin as he did in his ballroom dance. For now, it's a 6. Let's move on to Emma and Aliash and their tango. Last time I felt there were a lot of mistakes in her footwork, but her attitude was excellent. In this tango, I felt that the opposite happened. Great frame, not a lot of mistakes regarding her footwork, but she didn't act the dance at all. It was all very cold. There was no fire, there was no passion, which is very very important in this dance. She needs to improve her upper body and straighten her core. I hope that in her next dance she will be able to improve both her technical side and her artistic side. It was better than last week, but she can do even more, even better, and I will score it a 5. Chris and Karen and their Charleston. So it was a revelation. He's the one who has improved the most from week 1. His movements were almost perfect. His energy was fantastic. He was totally in sync with Karen, and that was great. He should learn to finish his lines when he does kicks, or when he points his legs, or when he hits his line with his arms. It could have been much cleaner. He also messed up his last cartwheel, but it was a vast improvement on his last week, and if he continues like that, he can go far. He just needs some polishing here and there, but it was a wow of an improvement. And it's a 7 for me. Let's move on to Emma and Anton and their foxtrot. I want to praise Emma because Anton has thrown a lot of difficult steps into that choreography, and she coped with that very very well. Some of her footwork was lovely, but she did have several errors too. So I hope that Anton gives her more simple choreography next time in order for her to focus and to concentrate more on the technical fundamentals of ballroom. There was a gap in her time, her upper body was weak, it was not its way. She needs to push her toes into the floor while moving backwards. As I said, some of her footwork was lovely, like the heel turns, and her frame was excellent, but there were a lot of technical errors, sadly. So for me, it's just a 5. Next up is Catherine and Johannes and their samba. What I loved about this routine was Catherine's excellent musicality and the fact that there was a lot of samba content, very very good amount of samba steps. However, it was riddled with mistakes, sadly. She didn't show the understanding, she didn't show understanding of the basic principle of the samba. And the key for performing, for making, for showing good samba is keeping one leg, usually it's the front leg, bent, and the second leg, the other leg, usually it's the back leg, straight, with the hip up. And she danced the whole samba with both of her legs bent, and because of that she didn't manage to produce any hip action. I want her to focus very hard on the technical aspect of the dance for the next time, and sadly for now it's only 4. Michelle and Giovanni and their Venus Waltz. Last week she amazing, really, with her technique. However, this week was no exception. No, however, this week wasn't exception. She pulled it again, another lovely performance. She definitely switched from sassy to classy. Fantastic musicality, wonderful heel leads, and beautiful frame. She needs to work even more on her posture and on her upper body, and as well as on pushing her toes through the floor, into the floor with her toes while going backwards. I also have to take the point off because there was no sway, which is very important in this dance. I think that the choreography suited Michelle very well. I think that she showed great personality and some decent footwork, but there are things to improve on in her ballroom in order for her to be really superb. For me, it's 7. I mean 7. And let's move on to David Nadia and their Paso Doble. For me, sadly, it was totally lacking commitment and engagement. It was looking like he does not really try. He didn't show the character of the dance. He was very passive. There was no tilted hips. There were no tilted hips at all, which is very essential in this dance. No Spanish arms, no shaping. He was smiling and not once, which is a big no-no in this dance. Even when he was clapping, instead of doing like that, like son, open your chest. Sure, you do like that. He was very passive, and sadly, it's no in this dance. The whole scene was totally lacking enthusiasm. His footwork wasn't bad at all. His work wasn't that bad, let's say that. But the rest, I mean shaping, tilted hips, flamenco arms, open chest, matador character, it was non-existent for me sadly. So I will score it only a 3. Next up is Karim and Amy and their Foxtrot. For me, it was best dance of the night. Last week, he performed such a strong cha-cha-cha, technically speaking, and once again he did disappoint. It had grace, it had style, it had elegance, it had sophistication, ooziness, charm, and sparkles of good old Hollywood. Great frame, terrific musicality, fantastic lines, amazing solo work. In ballroom, he just needs to learn how to create a sway. We want to create a sway, and he also needs to learn to push with his toes while moving backwards. Other than that, it was equally as good as his cha-cha-cha from last week. It was simply brilliant, and for me, it was a joy to behold. For me, it's an 8. Let's move on to Mike and Katya and their American Smooth. It was definitely very insane. He really gave us all a great show. However, there was nothing smooth in his American Smooth. It was quite stumpy. It didn't have the best, that beautiful and elegant gliding across the dance floor. His frame was too wide. He didn't drive his feet into the floor. There was no sway. His lifts were very risky. The lifts were very risky and creative for sure, but at the same time, they had nothing to do with the American Smooth. The number as a whole was like a fusion between acrobatics, country dancing, and technically very weak foxtrot. So last week he showed a decent jive, so I wanted to focus more on his technique for his next dance, and for now it's sadly only a 4. Let's move on to Alex and Neil and their cha-cha-cha. I loved her attitude. She acted the dance really well. Her musicality was excellent. However, the straightening of the leg is crucial it is the most fundamental element of the cha-cha-cha, and because it enables the dancer to create the needed hip action and to show the rhythm of the dance. Unfortunately, she does all her routine with her legs bent, so there were a lot of mistakes regarding her footwork. I loved the connection between her and Neil. I loved the artistic side of her. I mean musicality and the ability to portray character. But now she needs to work very hard on the technical aspect of the dance, and sadly for me it's a 4. Let's move on to Calvin and Otti and their walls. Sadly, I didn't like the routine because it was a modern take, a contemporary take on the slow walls. Calvin was into the dance emotionally and showed very good musicality, but his frame wasn't good. He didn't glide enough. He didn't push through the ball of his feet while moving backwards. Sometimes he didn't close his feet on count 3, and he made a mistake right at the beginning when he stepped forward on his ball rather than doing so from his heel, rather doing heel lead. So I want Otti to give him more traditional choreographies like the samba from week 1, and I want him to focus even more on the technique. He had some lovely moments regarding his footwork, but there were some disappointing moments as well. So for me it's a 6. Will and Jeanette, the salsa, fantastic sense of rhythm. His energy on the dance floor was superb. He showed that he can produce a lovely hip action, but it wasn't really quite there. He needs to learn as much as he can to use the ball of his feet, settle into the hip and to draw the figure 8. Continuous figure 8 in the hips is the key to a fantastic salsa. His foot placement could have been better. It was very bright and happy in terms of performance, and he and what was great is his ability to engage the crowd, to engage the audience. He showed potential in terms of his footwork, but for me it was better than last week, but for me he still needs to improve, and he's doing so step by step. So for now I will give him a 6. I want to say several words regarding James Bluba very quickly. So I think that the jive that he jived sadly was probably the worst jive I have ever seen. Lots of mistakes. I think that it was the right decision by the judges to eliminate him. Because sadly it was the worst dance of the evening. As I said, one of the worst jive, probably the worst jive I have ever seen on Strictly. I hope that he continues to inspire people, because he was indeed very inspiring, but technically it was super weak. There was no technique. He threw all the technique out of the window, and I will score it. I will score it his dance a 2. Sadly, it was really weak technically, and I think that the judges, as I said, have made the right decision. And I hope you enjoyed my review. I will be back next week with Musicals Week, and I hope that the standard of the dances will be even better next week. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next week. Bye bye.